Go back to it. By the time I got home, I was like, I'll just check the file tomorrow.
Yeah, really,
Good evening. We'll call this February 10th, 2025 meeting of the Lawrence County Council to order. Got a nice group out there. We'll have our invocation by Councilman Lane, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Dear Heavenly Father, Lord, thank you for this day, Lord. Thank you for all of your many blessings. Thank you for giving us the ability and the opportunity to come together as a governing body, Lord. We pray for discernment, Lord, and we pray for guidance. We thank you for getting us here safely, Lord, and we pray for safety as we go home. In Jesus' name.
Amen. To the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation.
Once again, I do thank you all for being here. I don't know if we have any more chairs, but we can certainly see, and we'll try to find some for those who are standing. Appreciate you being here. First bit of business we need to do tonight is to approve our agenda, February 10th, 2025. I do have one ask before we approve that under item 10, old business, that we move item B, third reading of the fireworks ordinance, up to item A and move item A down to B. Just switching the order of those two items. Are there any other changes that need to be made to the agenda? I'll make a motion. We approve the agenda with the changes I just spoke of.
Second.
Any other discussion? All those in favor? 6-0. We have 3 sets of minutes to approve: a January 13th, 2025 regular session, a January 22nd, 2025 Criminal Justice Public Safety Committee, and a January 29th, 2025 Criminal Justice and Public Safety Committee.
January 22nd, 2025, Criminal Justice Public Safety Committee. January 29th, 2025, Criminal Justice Public Safety Committee.
Second. So motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? 6-0. Our next item is special recognitions, and we have several this evening that we would like to do. And I will start this evening, if you will allow me, with our first recognition, which will be for a retirement of a long-term employee. So I'd like to read a little bit of what was written about this employee before we present the certificate. This is about Mrs. Cynthia Montgomery, who works in the public library since 1992. And she began her career as a part-time employee. And she learned about the library, developed a passion, became full-time in 1996, where she was promoted to a full-time position at the Clinton branch. Working at the circulation desk, assisting patrons, excelling in customer service, listening, and believing in treating people with respect and understanding. She also worked on the bookmobile, with many wonderful stories about patrons from her experience. She loved going into the community and providing access to reading materials. She often mentioned some patrons were incredibly kind and appreciative, and she sometimes was the only company they would have. And she emphasized the importance of patience as they often wanted to engage in long conversations, as we know. She gained a wealth of knowledge about the history of Lawrence County, was enthusiastic about visiting schools with the bookmobile, shared her love of reading with the children. Currently, she's working in the collection development department, where she recognized the lack of diversity in the library's collection. And she approached the director at the time and pointed out absence of works of authors of color, advocating for a library that represented the community. And thanks to her initiative, she was allowed to lead efforts that diversified our collection that reflect a broader range of voices and experience in the community. She's highly skilled at repairing library materials, fixing damaged books before having to charge people for a replacement, understanding that things happen. She's witnessed restoring books beyond repair. That is an art form that she was perfecting over 10 years. She's going to retire, and she'll certainly be missed at the library. She's the heartbeat of the library. They say they'll miss her smile and jokes, miss picking on her because she's an Alpha Kappa Alpha sorority member. And she taught Miss Renita how to be a better leader, taught the team how to have patience and active listening skills. And they'll certainly miss you. So if you, Miss Cynthia, want to come forward, I'll present this on behalf of Lawrence County with deep pride that we honor and proclaim with extreme honor Miss Cynthia Montgomery for the 32 years of dedicated service to the Lawrence County Library System. The Lawrence County Council congratulates you on your retirement the 10th day of February 2025. Want to say anything while you're up here?
Oh, no. Thank you.
I want to say something to you, ma'am. Thank you for your service. Thank you for serving in Lawrence County Library, ma'am. We appreciate your hard work and dedication. So everybody can't do it, and we want to say thank you, ma'am.
All right, thank you.
Secondly, this evening, we have the opportunity and honor to recognize Miss Vicki Cheek. Miss Vicki Cheek started in our coroner's office way back in 2001 under Nick Nichols as the coroner, and she learned so much under Nick. And after Nick passed, she was elected to as our coroner to provide stability to an office that needed it. Worked through good times and tough times. She always said it was we, not I, to accomplish it. She enjoyed working with the staff and the county council and had projects that she wanted to complete, improvements that she wanted to make, and continues to work to be a partner in the things we've done. And Ms. Cheek means so much to this county and to the coroner's office. Vicki, you're not, yes. So on behalf of Lawrence County, it's with deep pride that we, Lawrence County Council, proclaim with extreme honor Ms. Vicki Cheek for the dedicated service to the Lawrence County Coroner's Office for Lawrence County Council. Congratulate you on your retirement. This is the 10th day of February, 2025. Sit down.
We thank you once again, Ms. Vicki Chief. Thank you for your service in Lawrence County, ma'am. Thank you for all the things you have did and keep on doing. Thank you.
It is awesome when you can recognize somebody for a lifetime of work and that they're able to go out on their own terms and they've spent their time dedicated to the community. It really is an honor for us to be able to recognize that. Mr. Higgs, do you have any reports to council?
Yes, sir. Only one quick one tonight. Regarding debris pickup in the county, that's still ongoing through our contract with the South Carolina Department of Transportation. They're still very active in the county. Want to emphasize that they are taking the lead on it through this contract. As soon as this contract ends, the county is poised in position to move forward and continuing the work that needs to be done. So we're not going to skip a beat. Right now, the Department of Transportation is still handling that. So any people in the community, any citizens that have questions, concerns, or requests, those need to be directed to the South Carolina Department of Transportation. And I'm gonna give out that number. That number again is 855-467-2368. Again, that's 855-467-2368. And that number is also included on our website as it has been for the past few months. So any clarification, questions, gripes, concerns, comments, feel free to send them to our counterparts at the Department of Transportation. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I know you said it, but just to say it again, how long will they be providing that service to our county?
They're still ongoing right now. They keep giving ancillary timelines to have stuff done, but we got a recent email the other day saying they're still moving forward and they have no end date in mind as of right now. So as soon as we're made aware of that, we'll publish that out, because that'll require the county to shift our operations to pick up on where they leave off. But right now, they're still moving full steam ahead.
Yes, thank you. There, item 8, public comment. We have several people signed up to speak. First, Jim Moore.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I appreciate you and the fellow councilman giving me the opportunity to speak with you tonight. I'll be as brief as I can. I want to speak just a little bit about our new Veterans Monument on West Main Street. Let me begin by saying, I think this is an absolutely beautiful monument. So it's something Lawrence County can be proud of, and I'm very proud of. However, there is an issue that I would like to bring up with you. The issue is that not all veterans are represented in this monument. And I believe it's important to represent 100% of our veterans. The veterans that I'm speaking of are veterans that serve in a civilian status and will later act Congress given veteran status. Examples of what I'm talking about are the United States Merchant Marine, Women's Army Auxiliary Corps, and the Women's Air Force Service Pilots. Each of these are civilian organizations, along with several others that were given veteran status after their service. A little bit about the Merchant Marines. Merchant Marines had the highest mortality rate of any branch of the military. Roughly 1 out of 26 Merchant Marines died in the performance of their duties. Look at the Women's Army, or the Women's Air Force Service Pilots. These ladies would fly aircraft from where they were manufactured to either the east or the west coast. They would tow targets for our pilots to train on. They would actually train pilots. 38 of these women lost their lives during World War II. One was lost and never recovered. Getting back to the Merchant Marines, a lot of them died absolutely horrible deaths. They were burned alive, some were frozen to death, many were tortured to death at the hands of the Japanese. And I just think that it's important to give these veterans, and that's exactly what they are, they're veterans, the recognition that they have earned. And I brought with me a copy of federal law, it's Public Law 95-202. I've got a copy of it right here. I'll make it available to anyone that would like to see it. It gives these organizations veteran status. These are American veterans that I'm talking about. I also have with me a report that I was able to obtain from the United States Congressional Research Service. This is an organization that does research for the United States Congress, both houses. They have researched it, and they are in agreement that these men and women are veterans. And just a couple of weeks ago, I was at the National World War II Museum gathering some information unrelated to this, and I took a picture of a plaque where President Roosevelt is pinning a medal on a Merchant Mariner. And it talks a little bit about the work that they had to do to obtain veteran status. But what I'm asking you to do tonight specifically is to research this matter. And if you are in agreement that these are veterans and that they were left off of our monument, that you take whatever steps you deem appropriate to include them. And I'm subject to any questions the chairman or any member may have, and I'll make myself available after the meeting to answer any questions that anyone may have.
Thank you very much.
Appreciate the time.
Yes, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Mike Stegman.
Easy, sir.
Thank you. My name is Mike Stagmiller, resident of Great Court. I'm here tonight, once again, to continue my efforts to inform and educate not only the public, but also the council as to the lack of safety and leadership at the Green Pond Volunteer Fire Department, possibly other volunteer fire departments within Lawrence County. As you drive down Green Pond and see the fire department, just know the majority of the volunteers that are within that organization do lack the leadership, knowledge, and training to save lives and property. Many members have no idea how to use the equipment to save your life, your family, or even a member of your friends. Volunteer organizations are important as long as they follow some standards of operation as within the paid career organizations, which in this case, they do not. Safety in our community, especially the one I live in, is a priority for me, and it should be for you also. Now, having volunteer fire chiefs within the volunteer systems that are ages 70 and older is, in my opinion, inappropriate and unsafe, and which we have throughout Lawrence County, unfortunately. I have met with the administrator as well as the fire chief of Lawrence and asked him to make these changes for the safety of our communities. I have offered my time, my volunteer time, to help with these efficiencies, only to be told no. This council, as well as the fire chief, have no idea what the capabilities of each volunteer department are, what their equipment is, and what their training capabilities are, as well as their physical requirements that are needed for the job. I'm not against volunteers. I'm from a volunteer department. I praise volunteers, but at some point, you have to have volunteers that are trained and know the job to save your life. One of these examples I'm going to give you is about bloodborne and communicable diseases. And everybody has understood about the COVID that we've all been through and how dangerous it was. Not the same thing goes for all volunteer departments as well as career departments. You have to know the training that comes to bloodborne and communicable diseases. This is just one example. And I'm talking this example because I've seen it. I was in the fire department here in Lawrence before it was kicked out. And I've seen what they do and they don't do. They do not have the training to deal with these communicable diseases. They leave the gloves laying around. There's no bins to put them in. There's unsafe acts. The equipment they're bringing in to your home could be dirty. They could be transferring those diseases to your house, which is unacceptable and it's unsafe. So why does this council not know or not care about how these volunteer fire departments are run? The taxes we pay should not be for the service that is unreliable and unsafe. The safety of the citizens has been overlooked. And moving forward, we must change these efficiencies. Now, all these issues that I've brought forth to the council and to the public are also being evaluated by OSHA. Now, this is a federal agency that are reviewing all these problems, not just in Lawrence County, but in other counties and other states throughout the country at this time, just because of the problems that other communities are finding out and unaware of. Thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir. Carl Brinkerhoff.
Council. Yeah, thanks, sir.
Good, good. Just right off the bat, I can hear Mr. Chairman, I can hear you, sir, but when anybody else speaks, it's very low. You know, the prayer that he made was what I'll say. So it's nice that you recognize everybody that retired. That's very nice. I retired in the same industry, 45 years I was in it. And I came down here and I was a representative for the biggest paper in the country, newspaper. Since I've been here, there's stuff I'm trying to get familiar with, ordinances. Supposedly the Chevy dealership is a big issue, that was bought, resold back to the city. I'm trying to find out what's going on. May not even affect me, but again,
I'll usually don't comment, but I will tell you that's the city council issue. That's in the municipality of Lawrence City. That's not a county thing, so we wouldn't, but I'm just.
oh, okay, then I'll make it short, because I went to the last meeting and the mayor kind of like, as I was asking him questions, he was like offering me coffee in his office because he didn't want me to say anything in front of the room.
I mean, say what you need to say.
So
I don't know.
so I'm gonna put it straight out there. So I was like, no, I'm not gonna have coffee in your room, but why is he want to talk about it on the floor? But I'll go past that then. I'll go past that because that's what I wanted to talk about because nobody has any answers. It seems to be a big issue.
Yeah.
Anything should be grandfathered in. If somebody's got property, they can't change in, you know, an ordinance and make it different than what it is. I would think unless you grandfather it into something, new properties, I understand. If somebody's gonna buy something, you let them know what it's gonna be, they can back out of it. Or if they're gonna build something, they can back out of it. But if anybody's got existing properties and they want to change it, they should be grandfathered in. That's has nothing to do maybe with the county. Like you said, it's the city, but Lawrence County does spread past the city, correct? It goes into Great Court, right? Lawrence County goes into Great Court.
Parts of Great Court are a municipality as well, so they might have some in their town limits, but yes. We're the unincorporated areas of Lawrence County, we're in charge.
Okay, so that may affect outside the city then, with these ordinances?
Our ordinances will, yeah.
Okay, so is that gonna be, are we still talking about the same thing, about changing the
So the municipal,
changing the zoning on this?
so we don't have zoning in Lawrence County. We wouldn't, the municipalities have some zoning, but the county does not have a zoning.
This is all city then, that we're
Yes.
talking about.
Yes,
Sorry to waste your
no
time.
worries, nice to meet you.
Welcome to Lawrence County, sir.
Nancy Garrison.
I first want to give a shout out to the Lawrence County Sheriff's Department here recently. There's been many issues. It's actually affected my other neighbors where the new townhomes are being built. The construction people are showing up at 5 o'clock in the morning and waking them up, and then 9:40 at night and keeping them up, and so they've actually been very vigilant in trying to get them to stop, and actually I think started giving citations for it happening. And even after giving them one evening, the very next morning, they showed up at 6:15, which the sheriff's department was present to stop it from, you know, occurring before they're supposed to actually start working. So I just wanted to give them a shout out. But I did want to, of course, talk about the fireworks ordinance. You know, been very involved in this for quite some time. You know, I've been to the committee meetings. I brought something from a vet, what they shared from what it does to livestock. And so I've shared a whole lot about what we're dealing with up in our area. And I know that this got to third reading, and I feel like now I've shot myself in the foot by saying, I cared about what other people thought and didn't want to affect the whole county. And it's kind of turned into something totally different now. And, but I did care about what other people, but it's like that wasn't reciprocated when we were, you know, in the committee meetings. And I felt like that's unfortunate because I did want to try to work something out that didn't affect everybody and would help us in the northern part of the county. You know, it's been said that this could be, you know, weaponized. And I feel like if something could have weaponized, the state code could have already done. That has nothing to do with livestock. We're just talking about livestock. So anybody in the state of South Carolina can put their property, whether they're in the houses and subdivisions and everything else, and absolutely has nothing to do with livestock. We were literally just trying to protect what we've built for years. You know, I don't think that it would be weaponized. And I feel like that many of you know our situation. You know, if we didn't know what was coming, we had no voice in what was coming next to us. And we have worked I've been where I'm at 31 years trying to build, and my husband much longer than that, trying to build what we have. And people are saying they don't want their rights taken away from them. Well, we're kind of in the same situation. We have rights too. We're trying to protect what we built. So this is a hard subject, and I get that. And, but I also want to share, there's many counties, municipalities that have created fireworks ordinance. I have a whole list of them. Beaufort County actually restricted across the entire county. You know, if a fireworks show goes on, it has to be approved through the fire marshal. There's none. Charleston, they cannot. I think within the city, you can't purchase them, you can't buy them. I mean, like, this is not anything new in our state. And we're simply trying to protect livestock. We're trying to protect our livelihoods and what we built all these years. And Lawrence County is based on the agricultural. I mean, that's one of the biggest parts of Lawrence County until we started having subdivisions on the northern end. And so agriculture is what we continue to want to base our life on. We're not selling, we're not going anywhere. And I feel like that if something's not done, if something's not put in place, that what we strive to continue to do as our livelihood doesn't matter. So, thank you.
So I am Riddle, and I just wanted to voice concern about the fireworks and the 300 feet. And this is why everybody's seen pictures where we had a horse get burned. So 300 feet.
I haven't seen it.
Well, I don't have I sent it, everybody else had it from in July. They saw it in July. Okay, well, I can show it to you. So what happened was we had neighbors that were across the street shooting fireworks. And it was right at 400 feet. We measured it with a wheel, right at 400 feet where they were. They were not being mean. They were not doing anything, you know, shooting them at horses. They were just shooting fireworks. Apparently, the embers got caught in the wind, and the wind carried them, and they rained down on the horse and burned its withers. And, you know, it wasn't a critical injury, but it was enough that you couldn't ride the horse until it healed. So, you know, before New Year's, I actually spoke to the family and told them, and they didn't do fireworks. So I was lucky on that end that they were respectful of that and regretted it. But that's not the norm. Most people's attitude is, it's my property, Dad, Jim, it, I can do what I want. But they were very kind and gracious and didn't shoot fireworks. So, you know, we're running 55, 60 horses. And these people were across the street. They were not right on our fence line or anything like that. So that's a great concern for me. And I know all this fireworks stuff is new. And it's new because of all the development that's come in. It's got, you know, I mean, we got a lot more coming on top of us. So, and we are on the northern end, and people that aren't on the northern end can't even fathom why we're worried. But it's coming to them too. And then they're going to be worried. So now's the time before it happens, and you got herds of people in here that aren't patient. And I'm not always patient, but I mean, we haven't screamed and yelled and stomped our feet and cussed and yelled at anybody. We're just trying to tell you a need. And, you know, it just feels like it's like, well, you're not the majority, too bad. So, you know, that's kind of how it feels. So just consider. We are not, we know we're not the majority, but it's still real. Thank you.
Tanya Brock.
And Broughton, I live on the other side of Nancy Garrison, and was actually one of the ones who got to call the police at 5:20 one morning when they were doing construction. So as she said, I would like to thank the Sheriff's Office for coming out and putting a stop to that. Also would like to propose, if it's not already there, as a preventive action, that new construction coming, the developer, someone in charge, is made aware of the noise ordinance for the county. So that potentially new development neighbors do not have to call Sheriff's Office at 5:15 in the morning or at 9:30 at night. We can make them aware before it happens. I think it would save a lot of us some trouble. Want to make that proposal and thank the Sheriff's Office for what they've done. Thank you.
Justin Holmes.
Good evening. My name is Justin Holmes. I wanted to comment my concern on the fireworks ordinance for taking a vote for our third reading tonight. Essentially, I am not for it. I feel like there's going to be several areas to where your fence line or from a fence line, you know, the verbiage in there just doesn't reflect the wants of the majority of the county. I understand that there are some concerns from livestock owners. First, it was mentioned about getting hurt, and then they said really wasn't worried about that part. They were worried about the lights and the sound. You're thinking about so many feet. Well, think of how we sound and light carries. You're 200, 300, 400 up to 1,000 feet is not really going to make a change of your decibel level on a firework echoing in the air. Another point is that there is already an option for these people to put their property in a firework free zone. And I think on one of them, the subdivision that's closest to them, or the one that was affecting them, actually has in their bylaws that they can't shoot fireworks. So there's an opportunity for them to hold that HOA or that community responsible for them not enforcing their rules and affecting them. But the proposed ordinance, I don't feel like it is right to take that away from everyone in Lawrence County. Eventually, it could be weaponized. You could get someone who, I mean, there's a lot of things we see out there now, people get along with their neighbors. Well, there's an opportunity for someone to take a stab at someone else, making a call, putting their property in this to limit someone else's rights, then it creates more of a conflict. Essentially, so just wanted to propose, you know, that I am against it. That's for it to be voted against.
Please forgive me. Marion Blakely. Is that close?
Yes, sir.
Okay. I apologize.
Good evening, everybody.
Good evening, sir.
I'm Marion Blackton Jr. live at 109 Good Street, in Lawrence, South Carolina. Have major complaints and concerns about dilapidated houses in my neighborhood. Am I in the right place? My complaint.
Oh, sir, you in the city.
So is your residence in either the city of Lawrence or Clinton, the city limits?
City of Lawrence.
Yes, that would be city council that would take that up for you. The county, Lawrence County Council does the unincorporated areas. So if your home is in a city limit, that's through the city of Lawrence.
Even though I pay county tax, state tax, city tax.
So the dealings of dilapidated houses and things like that are handled by the city of Lawrence, not the county.
So you're saying I take over the city council?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
When did that meet?
Help me.
Thank you.
5:30.
And
Next Tuesday, 5:30 at the Lawrence County Police Department.
Next Tuesday, 5:30 at the Lawrence County Police Department, Lawrence City Police Department.
okay, thank you.
Thank you. I apologize. All right. We'll move on now to item 9 reports from committee. And before we go into that, we did have 2 requests come before us for council this evening. One from the Lawrence County Hall of Heroes and one from the Veterans Department concerning our Veterans Monument and some things they would like to do that will take a significant amount of conversation to get right, and it would not be duly handled this evening, not fairly, I don't think. So I'm going to assign those 2 requests to our Committee on Intergovernmental Affairs, and I'll have the chair of that to reach out to the Hall of Heroes and Mr. Bolt at the Veterans Office to schedule that meeting. So just want to let those who might be here tonight to speak on that or hear about that. We will be dealing with a request from the Hall of Heroes related to our Veterans Memorial Day organization, Veterans Day situation, as well as some papers that they would like to sell. That will be in a committee meeting going forward. Are there any other reports from committee?
Yes, Mr. Chairman. So to give a report from the Committee on Criminal Justice and Public Safety for Ordinance 976, the fireworks ordinance. To bring everybody up to speed on this ordinance was brought up last year, made its way to 3rd reading where it was then sent back to committee. When committee assignments were finalized earlier back in January, I was assigned to that committee alongside Mr. Yonks and Ms. Clark. Committee had 2 meetings to discuss and hear public input on what folks of Lawrence County wanted in this fireworks ordinance, and the committee issued this recommendation. We wanted to amend section 3 to define livestock as cattle, sheep, horses, goats, and other domestic animals ordinarily raised and used on a farm. To amend section IV as follows: in a fireworks prohibited zone within 300 feet of a livestock housing facility or fenced area containing livestock located within a fireworks prohibited zone in any adjoining public property to which the local governing body has extended the fireworks zone. If a person seeks to use fireworks within the zone at a distance less than 300 feet away from livestock housing facility or fenced area, they would have to seek express permission from that property owner 72 hours in advance. We amend a new subsection A to read as follows: in the event that a resident is able to demonstrate by a preponderance of evidence that livestock suffered actual harm by the discharge of fireworks further than 300 feet of the fireworks prohibited zone, that resident may petition Lawrence County Council to extend the fireworks prohibited zone to within 1,000 feet of a livestock housing facility or fenced area containing livestock. Amend to add subsection B to read as follows: within 1,000 feet from the perimeter of a residential housing development, and to amend section B to read as follows: any person who uses or discharges any fireworks within the unincorporated parts of Lawrence County who fails to comply with Article IV shall be deemed guilty of an infraction and is punishable by a civil penalty as provided with the Lawrence County Uniform Fee and Fine Schedule ordinance. The committee recommends the following civil penalties: for the first offense, a warning, no fine; second offense, up to $500; and a third offense, up to $750. Mr. Chairman, I will make these recommendations on behalf of the Committee on Criminal Justice and Public Safety.
So this will come as a recommendation from our committee. It does not require a second. So now we will have discussion on the proposal from the committee. Anybody have any discussion?
So if livestock is injured, it goes to 1,000 foot. Is that how it reads?
Correct. They would have to come to county council to get that 1,000 feet with a presentation of that evidence.
Y'all telling me somebody with a siren, fire trucks go by animal. Fireworks don't shoot 2 times a year. So why would the fire department, just tell me, police department go with their siren by animal? But why are we having this discussion on animal? Fireworks don't shoot but 2 times a year, July and New Year.
So I think that is when the majority of people celebrate together, but there is nothing that prohibits fireworks from being discharged throughout the entirety of the year, anytime somebody wants. But I do understand what you're saying is we see it more prolifically during Fourth of July and New Year's, which becomes a tremendous problem for them because it's more than just one office, it's everybody likes to
So I'm
sell.
looking at it, you tell me if ambulance go by, they pull out property where she said she got horses at. The fire department go by that wide open. What do the animal do then?
So I don't think anybody's arguing that other things make noise, and they do. I think the decibel levels from some of the things are different, the explosions are sometimes different. But a lot of this had to do with actual harm that was coming from the firework that actually harmed the animal because of the distance.
So the next time a fire department go up there, the police go up there with the sirens on, I want to see the animals.
I think I hear what you're saying, that we're missing what we're trying to accomplish.
I understand find the compass there, but she don't know, I'm looking at when the fire department go up there with the siren wide open, the police go up there with the siren wide open. They don't go 2 times a year.
Answer that.
Answer that for me.
We're not doing that. We're not having a meeting like that. This is council is going to deliberate now. I'm sorry. We're not having a public.
That's all I got to say about it.
Okay. I do have a concern about the way it's presented and the way it reads with section B about the perimeter from a residential housing development. That could be applied incorrectly in the county if we're just saying that 1,000 feet from a residential subdivision, residential housing development is prohibited. It doesn't specifically say that it has to be accompanied by a farm or livestock facility. So I have concerns the way it's written that it would take an existing or a residential housing development that doesn't have agricultural impact and prevent fireworks.
I got to vote. My answer is no. Ain't no I say.
Mr. Chairman, I will make a motion to remove item B from section 4 within 1,000 feet from the perimeter of residential housing development.
So from the recommendation from the committee, their amendments, there's a suggestion to amend by removing item B. Is there a second to that? So any discussion on the proposed ordinance with removal of section B? Now we're going to vote on the amendment to this ordinance, not the entire ordinance, just the amendment. All those in favor of removing section B from the amended motion? Raise your hand. Any opposed? Any abstention? Mr. Wilson, you opposed or abstained?
Like this, I'm not voting in. I'm negative.
Against.
I'm against.
5-1 with Mr. Wilson in opposition. So now we have the document as presented from committee, removing section B. Any other discussion? Since it came from committee and we are ready to, we're finished with discussion. We are ready to vote on this. This will go into the third reading approval. So all those in favor of approving this document for third reading, raise your hand. Third reading. This is the ordinance we will present for third reading.
976.
976.
And we're voting now to pass it or not pass it.
So our next item will be to vote on third reading. So I would say this amended ordinance that you have here that we voted to remove section B. That is what's being presented. We will vote on that as being ordinance 976 fireworks ordinance on third reading. Yes. All those in favor?
Point of order, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
We are voting for item B, third reading, not the.
Correct. Your report to council is complete, correct? Okay, we'll go in now to old business. We're using item B is now A. So our next thing is third reading of ordinance 976. We just approved what came from committee and with the proposed changes. So this item now is third reading. Are there any other questions? Everybody clear? So do I have a motion we approve ordinance 976 on third reading?
Not vote.
Second.
Show you that.
I call second for discussion. Any further discussion on ordinance 976? All those in favor of passing ordinance 976 fireworks ordinance, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Any abstention? All right.
I'm sorry, y'all.
Okay. We're voting on third reading, ordinance 976. We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of passing ordinance 976 fireworks ordinance as presented, raise your right hand. All those opposed? Ms. Pilson, you opposed?
I ain't voting on stuff.
That's an abstention.
Oh, yeah, I'm not voting on it because I'm sticking with, I say what I'm gonna stick with.
That's 3 to 2 to 1. With Councilman Brownlee and Lane in opposition. Mr. Pilson.
So what, say it again, what you said, what you saying, voting on. Tell me what y'all trying to do because it's like this. Because in one moment, you're gonna say it, then the next moment, you're gonna go back, because I didn't know nothing about this all.
Counselor, can you give me a ruling? We voted, we've taken account.
I do think we need to clarify the vote for Mr. Pilson, so he's aware. Mr. Pilson, you're voting on the approval or the disapproval of the current ordinance. If the vote count remains the way it is, 3-2-1, the ordinance will pass because you're abstaining. If you vote against the ordinance, it would fail because it would be a tie.
I'm voting against it, so.
Just wanted to clarify that.
So that is
That's
3 to 3. Councilman Wilson, Brownlee, and Lane in opposition. The ordinance fails.
You got other more business to talk about.
Section.
Well, about some fireworks.
Thanks, sir. The next item under old business will be council submissions. Does anyone have any submissions for approval? Mr. Administrator, do you have anything for us to approve this evening?
Not under.
Under submissions for the council. Fair.
I just hear.
Several of you have submitted your appointments to the clerk to have those vetted by our legal. And so we have a list now that need to be approved. So under Lawrence County Airport Commission, Mr. Yance, Richard Snipes, is that right? All those in favor of approving Richard Snipes for Lawrence County Airport Commission, raise your right hand. Any opposed? 6-0. Ms. Cheyenne, can you give me a list of those that need approval?
Yes, sir. So for the airport commission, it'll be Richard Patterson, Chris McCameron, and Sherry Lindsay Anderson.
Gotcha. Okay. So we'll go through Lawrence County Airport Commission. We had 3 that were needing to be filled. Councilman Brownlee from District 2 had Richard Patterson. Ms. Clark from District 3 has Chris McCameron. And District 6, Mr. Filson has Sherry Lindsay Anderson. We have a motion that we approve these 3 for the Lawrence County Airport Commission.
Motion to approve, Mr. Chairman.
All those in favor? 6-0. Our Lawrence County Gateway Board, we have 3 nominations this evening. From District 3, Ms. Clark, we have Oscar Triple. From District 6, Mr. Filson, we have Anita Robinson. And District 7, Councilman Lane, Angel Bauer. We have a motion we approve these 3 for Lawrence County Gateway Board.
So moved.
Second. Motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor, please raise your right hand. Any opposed? 6-0. Our Lawrence County Library Board, we have 3 submissions this evening. District 3, Ms. Clark has nominated Wanda Woody Workman. District 6, Mr. Filson.
This packet has been given out. Ms. Clark has actually appointed Ms. Wanda Tribble. Wilma Tribble.
Thank you. I'll go back and clarify. Lawrence County Library Board, Ms. Shirley Clark. District 3, Ms. Wilma Tribble. District 6, Mr. Filson is Wanda Woody Workman. District 7, Mr. Lane, Jill Eaton. I have a motion to approve these 3 for the Lawrence County Library.
Motion to approve. Second.
I have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? Any opposed? 6-0. Lawrence County Parks and Tourism, we have 3 this evening. District 3, Ms. Clark nominates Nathaniel Gary. District 6, Mr. Filson. Help me, Mr. Filson.
Kenny.
It says Kuntre Robinson.
Yes.
Kuntre Robinson. District 7, Mr. Lane, Bobby Mobley. We have a motion to approve these 3. We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? 6-0. Our Lawrence County Planning Commission has 4 that are being recommended this evening. District 2, Councilman Brownlee, Casey Robinson. District 3, Councilwoman Clark, Michael Floyd. District 6, Councilman Filson, Dr. Linda Cohen. District 7, Councilman Lane, Alan Lawson. We have a motion, we approve these. Motion approved. Second. Motion and a second. All those in favor? 6-0. And the Disabilities and Special Needs Board also has 4. District 2, Councilman Brownlee, Courtney Snow. District 3, Councilwoman Clark, Brenda Ligon. District 6, Councilman Filson, Jacqueline Robinson. District 7, Councilman Lane, Shawnee Mobley. Motion to approve.
Motion.
Second. Any discussion? All those in favor? 6-0. I apologize for that confusion. Does that do what we need? Awesome.
The one you didn't name, check it off the list.
Who passed it?
Planning committee.
Planning Committee? Dr. Linda Cohen?
No, it's one that I put a name in,
The zoning task force.
the zoning task force.
Okay.
Why we don't have it?
Can you speak to that?
Yes, Chairman. The task force for zoning is a ad hoc commission. These are standing commissions that are appointed every year. So the ad hoc commission has a very limited duration. There's no approval required by the county council for an ad hoc commission. So you just submit the names and they are on the commission. There's no need, or the task force, there's no need to vote for council.
Thanks, sir.
So, but they all, there's only about 1 week time in?
Yeah, yes, council.
All right. Item C is approval to accept the RFP recommendation of our purchasing department for disaster recovery public assistance. I'll turn it over to our county administrator.
Yes, sir. You just stated the purpose of the RFP that came before council a few months ago. We put that out to bid. We got 2 bids back. One from GMC, Goodwood Mills and Kaywood, I believe. They're out of Greenville, South Carolina. You had another group that made a proposal to Integrated Solutions out of Edwardsville, Illinois. Staff that included emergency management, purchasing, finance, risk management, vetted a panel to hear presentations from the presenting parties. Procurement recommends that we enter into a contractual agreement with GMC coming out of the result of that RFP. And in your packet, there's a list of references cited from that panel, but they'll be charging an hourly rate for monitoring expenditures, compiling that, and then reaching out for FEMA reimbursement, as most counties are doing in the state of South Carolina. We recommend the same coming out of administration. And their fee could also be potentially FEMA reimbursable.
How much we paying them?
It's an hourly rate based on the work that they do.
How many get out?
I'd have to get that information from you, sir.
We need it.
Yes, sir.
I need it.
Is this question on hourly rate, is an hourly rate for this type of work kind of consistent across?
It's completely standard. The other agency that submitted a bid had a per diem rate attached to it as well for housing their employees that come down from Illinois. So we have to put them up in hotel rooms and everything else. This is a local company that already does business in South Carolina out of Greenville. Other counties are using them as well. And they are used to doing business in Lawrence County. They're currently working with Lawrence County Water Sewer on another project.
So why we got to put them up there already here?
You heard me incorrectly, sir. We're not putting them up. That was another agency and we're not recommending that bid.
Let me know.
So I would assume that this type of work that we're asking somebody to do is necessary for counties to use to be able to accomplish this.
It's not entirely necessary. However, counties like ours, comparable counties that have limited resources. We're not a Charleston, Richland, or Horry County that have unimaginable resources to track these expenditures and monitor the FEMA reimbursements. This is actually a measure recommended to us by the Emergency Management Division. And so that's why we brought it to council beforehand and made that proposal. This is the result of the RFP tasked by council.
Thanks. Any other questions for the county administrator? I'll accept the motion to approve the RFP recommendation of our purchasing department for the disaster recovery public assistance. Motion second. Any other discussion? All those in favor, raise your right hand. All those opposed? 5-1. Councilman Filson.
I want to know what it costs.
Thank you, sir. Your new business, we have an approval of resolution 2025-2, the medical legal death investigation professional.
Mr. Chairman, on behalf of the County of Lawrence, South Carolina, it is with deep pride that we, the Lawrence County Council, do hereby proclaim with extreme honor the month of February 2025 Coroner and Medical Legal Death Investigation Professionals Week. Whereas county governments and local communities depend on medical legal death investigation professionals, including coroners, as the foundation of our medical legal death investigations. And whereas these professionals represent descendants, their families, and their communities to ensure that suspicious, violent, unattended, unexplained, and unexpected deaths are investigated properly and thoroughly. Whereas Medical Legal Death Investigation Professionals Week acknowledges and honors the difficult work done by the Lawrence County coroners and recognizes that medical legal death investigations are vital to public health and law enforcement. Now therefore, the Lawrence County Council recognizes the important services provided to the citizens of this county coroners and the other medical legal death investigation professionals, and hereby proclaims January 19th to the 25th as Medical Legal Death Investigation Professionals Week in Lawrence County. Be it resolved and proclaimed on this 10th day of February, 2025. I'd like to call on Ms. Patty Camp, our coroner, Mr. Bill Williams, Ms. Ashley Rushton, and Mr. James Black.
We have a motion to approve resolution 2025-2 medical legal death investigation professionals.
So moved.
Second.
All those in favor? 6-0. Thank you, congratulations. Item B is approval of resolution 2025-3, resolution for Black History Month. Whereas historian Carter G. Woodson, the only person whose parents were enslaved in the United States, obtained a PhD in history from Harvard, launched Black History Week in 1926 to recognize the significant contributions of African Americans during the second week of February, to coincide with the birthdays of Abraham Lincoln and abolitionist writer Frederick Douglass. And whereas Congress expanded Black History Week to National Black History Month in 1976 during the nation's bicentennial celebration. And whereas Black History Month, which is celebrated each year during February, is a chance for all Americans to learn details of their nation's history that is often neglected. And whereas the 2025 Black History Month theme is African Americans in labor, and whereas brought to colonial America on slave ships in the 1600s, African American slaves became a keystone of labor in the newly formed United States. And whereas African Americans in labor focuses on the various and profound ways that work and working of all kinds, free and unfree, skilled and unskilled, vocational and voluntary, intersect with the collective experiences of Black people. And whereas the 2025 Black History Month theme, African Americans in labor, highlights the invaluable contributions of African Americans in the workforce. And whereas African American history is American history, and whereas the observance of Black History Month calls our attention to the continued need to overcome racism and build a society that lives up to its democratic ideals. And whereas Lawrence County honors the history and contributions of African Americans in our community, now therefore be it resolved. The purpose of this resolution is to adopt and designate the month of February 2025 as Black History Month in Lawrence County. The Lawrence County Council affirms and agrees on the 10th day of February 2025 that the month of February 2025 be designated as Black History Month in Lawrence County. Lawrence County is authorized to take such action pursuant to the powers designated and delegated to the county in Title IV and Title VI of the South Carolina Code of Laws. This resolution shall take effect and be in force immediately upon enactment by a majority vote of County Council. I submit this to have a motion to approve Resolution 2025-3.
Motion.
Second.
I have a motion and a second. All those in favor? 6-0. Thank you very much. Item C is approval to use an external transport service for moving, loading, and transporting deceased. Turn it over to the county administrator.
Mr. Chairman, I'll yield to the county coroner.
Congratulations.
Good evening, council member. Glad to see some new faces here. Y'all probably wasn't even born when I started EMS. But I'm here tonight to ask for a transport service versus what we use at this time. We are currently down 2 stretchers, to, load our decedents and take them to the proper place. I'm asking about, R&R removal service. Our currently stretchers that we using is over 20 years old, and we got a maintenance, and he says that, we're about to lose another stretcher because of the wear and tear on these stretchers. We were given these stretchers donated by Lawrence County EMS, which I greatly appreciate the uses of those stretchers, but it's time for us to see something either new or get a external transport. This transport service is $250 a call. It's gonna help with safer for the first responders, not hold EMS up until we get investigators seen and get them transported onto the stretcher. Ongoing maintenance issues, liability, and to be out of there in a safely and timely manner. A lot of times if we take our transport or our decedents for an autopsy, we have to go to Greenville ourselves. So that's taking a person out of the county, and we have to put another person on call for that overtime. If we get power loads like EMS, it's gonna be roughly between $270,000 to equip our 5 trucks that we currently have. That's all that I have. Mr. Carroll, you could probably enlighten us on the stretcher uses on your EMS side.
Let me ask you a question on
Yes,
this.
sir.
The recommendation of R&R removal service, does that follow our procurement process? Is there a RFP that went out that we?
I can answer that. The coroner came to me with this request. I asked her to put it out for RFP. She reached out trying to get quotes and was unable to get any more. So this will fall under the sole source provision within our procurement process.
And I have the gentleman here tonight with the R&R services.
Well, I read it. I've been reading it. And I'm not paying $62,000. $102.56. I will approve to put them in our own bills. I would pay 5 years and pay somebody $62,000. Why we got people who we can't use? They put them in there. How the manpower?
We don't have the manpower, sir.
Who you put in for it? They told me, put it in the budget. Put it in the budget.
What was the volume of that would have been transported last year at this point?
Roughly around 350. Deaths. We have that.
350 deaths times $250.
Yes, sir.
All right, let's do the math.
All right, do the math on how much the stretchers would cost.
I will pay for a stretcher.
All right. That's fine with me.
So I'd be willing to weigh in a little bit on our options here so that we don't get too emotional on what this is and we can kind of objectively look at it. The liability and the removal of our ability to use our emergency services is inversely related to this. So we have a lot of liability in when we transport decedents, both with our patient, with our employees, workers' comp situation. And I got that. Okay, great. So what happens is there's a cost to moving our decedents with our units that are designed to be 911 ambulances. For example, if we're transporting a deceased body and that we have one ambulance left in the county and we're taking a dead body to some destination and there's a bad accident or a pediatric trauma or a cardiac arrest or something, that ambulance can't respond to that. It's transporting a dead body. And that's just reality.
I just said, why you can't put a body on, put somebody on full time just to do that.
So you could actually do that. So for $87,500, you have somebody that takes all the liability, that does all the work, doesn't cost you anything in labor. It doesn't cost you any fringe. You don't have to deal with any workers' comp things for $87,500. To hire a full-time person with fringe, you're probably at that. Then with that, we're going to have to purchase a power load and a stretcher that's going to cost $70,000 to upfit our vehicle. We already have vehicles that can't handle this. We'd have to buy a new vehicle as well, add that to our insurance fleet and do the maintenance on that vehicle ongoing.
You got people go out of town every day in the county vehicle, don't live in the county. So what's the difference, sir?
It's not even.
We're
not even discussing that.
I know, I'm just letting you know, put it out there. To
I'm
the
just
people.
letting those who want to listen understand that for a fee, they can do the service. It frees up some of your resources that you need. It decreases liability and provides oftentimes a better service for both the county and the employees and the people who are dealing with the debt. They do this every day. And so.
Well, we had to take a manpower out for 6 months. We don't have but so many people that can go out. And so these families mean just as much to me as it should to y'all.
So I think knowing there are concerns on both sides, but at the end of the day, it's a flat fee to do a service that costs us far more than what we see. The intangible cost is far more than the cost for them to do the job. And it does remove liability and it makes the service better. So I've seen it firsthand in other communities. That's the way people are going. EMS services don't have the ability to transport deceased patients anymore. And if your coroner's office is not robust enough, it's too much of a burden for them to be able to handle and do their normal work. So that's the way people are going. And so I just wanted you to have that information as we discussed this.
Point of inquiry?
Yes, sir.
Chairman. If I'm not mistaken, this contract is up until 2028, 3 years.
We did it for 3 years due to the council members that gets voted in or out, either or, so it gives the opportunity for that new council member to vote on it for the next 3 years. Okay.
The annual fee that's based on the call volume.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
It's per.
That's for my clarity.
I mean, our population is growing every day. I mean, we've had 100 cases already. And it's only the second week in February. So, I mean, the call volume is getting there.
Okay, 100 already.
Yes, sir. But a lot of times we utilize funeral homes. This is for just our cases that, we have to get them transported for autopsies or whatever.
So that $25,000 you already done spent.
What, 25,000?
$100 times 250.
No, I think what she was
No.
saying is they've had 100 cases,
We've had
but
100
some of those.
Okay,
But
all right.
it's
transport
all
like
of them
this.
is not transportable.
All right, but I'm just saying,
Yeah,
doing the math.
we,
It's a,
okay.
any other discussion? The recommendation is from our county administrator.
This is a recommendation from the coroner's office, but I will add for informational purposes, we had the same discussion about 3 years ago,
Yes,
if
sir.
I'm not mistaken. We sort of put Band-Aid on the bullet hole at that time by EMS allocating some stretchers of the striker variety, if I'm not mistaken, to the coroner's office to be a stopgap measure. But now, since then, we've had multiple workers' comp incidents, 2, I believe, in 2014 or 2024 alone. So it would be my recommendation, this would potentially mitigate future liability to the county as well, be a valuable investment.
Any other?
Karen, do you have any questions for the removal service person?
I personally don't.
Okay.
When he making money, he ain't gonna need the house.
I do have a question before we.
Yeah,
Thanks.
I need to have that service.
Yeah,
Thank you for coming, sir.
it's good.
So when you have a call to come to Lawrence County, where would your transportation service be coming from?
I live in Woodruff, so, but I only live like 5 minutes from the Lawrence County line.
The bridge is out now, so how far it take?
I don't live on that side of the road.
Okay.
I also have a van that's on the south end of Lawrence County. Coming out of Greenwood. They can carry up to 4, 2 vans, 2 stretchers. However, if we get into a need, which I hope we never do, I have a good working relationship with all the funeral homes. We still being moved regardless.
Thanks, sir.
All right, nothing else? Do I have a motion to approve the use of R&R removal service to handle our dead body transport?
Why we can't keep what we got?
Got a motion? Second. Any discussion now?
I'll say what I got to say, sir.
Okay, thank you. Any other discussion? All those in favor of employing R&R removal service, raise your right hand. All those opposed? 5-1, Councilman Filson in opposition.
Thanks.
Thank you. You're welcome. Thank you. Item D is approval of our county council rules. All council members received an updated copy today. It says first reading. It is pretty comprehensive. So in an effort to do a good job of making sure these are the rules we want and not rushing through them, I would like to assign those to committee as a whole, meaning we would schedule a new separate meeting specific to discussing these rules. Anybody have any issue with that? Wes, you good with that?
It would probably give me less heartburn if there was a motion to refer it to a committee of the whole in second vote.
I'll make a motion that I assign it to a committee as a whole. There's a second. Motion is second. Any discussion? All those in favor? All those opposed? 5-1, Councilman Filson in opposition.
I ain't had time to read it. I'm gonna read it before I give you an answer.
Yes, sir. That's why we're referring it to committee. All right. Nothing else on the agenda. And we will now go into county council comments. I'll start to my right. Councilman Lane.
Yeah, I just want to say thank y'all for coming out. The fact that y'all are here means you care about the county, so I appreciate y'all for coming. And I would personally thank Ms. Patty and Mr. Bill, and Ms. Ashley for everything they do at the coroner's office. We had a chance to go by there and visit with them. It's incredible what they do.
Sorry. Councilman Filson.
Okay, what I got to say. Anybody got anything to say to Arthur Lee Filson Jr., tell Arthur Lee Filson Jr., don't call somebody else. I'm not a puppy with a leash on. If it sound like a duck, walk like a duck, act like a duck, it's a duck. Have a good night.
Thanks, sir. Ms. Clark.
Good evening to all. Once again, thank all of you for coming out. I want to congratulate our retiree for Lawrence County for your service well done. We really appreciate it, the hard work that you have put into Lawrence County. And I thank all of you that are coming out to express your concerns or issues that are going on in Lawrence County. If you give us an input that you do care, that you are concerned with what's going on in Lawrence County. Sometimes we don't know until you shows up. So I ask each of you, get on the phone and spread the word that we are here to come to these meetings express yourself. And for we can grow Lawrence County in the correct way, in the proper way that fit all of our needs. We ain't gonna make everybody happy, but we got to move forward. We have to move forward. And I advise all of you, this is Black History Month. Go by the Lawrence County Library, the Lawrence County Museum. They have all kind of programs. I challenge you to learn something about Black History Month. I advise all of you to do that. That's all I have for this evening. Be blessed. Thank you.
Councilman Yance. Councilman Brown.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. First off, I want to echo the sentiments of Ms. Clark and Mr. Lane of being involved in local government. That's definitely something that I would recommend to anyone and be a part of the process and making your voices heard. Dealing with the fireworks ordinance was no easy task, starting off as a new councilman. I heard the story from both sides multiple times and hear the sentiments from both sides. The folks up in the northern end of the county, I do feel for you. If I were in the same position, I would probably be right where you are today. Something I run on was smart growth. I think that's something that, over the next 4 years, while I'm on this council, that we can work on and making sure that these new developments that come into this county are what we desire for the folks that are living here. But also dealing with the fireworks ordinance, I had to remember the people that elected me and the fact that I run on limited government. Hearing the voices of my constituents and of people throughout the county, but the people of District 2 are the ones that put me into office, and hearing their concerns about this ordinance are what affected my decision tonight. But that's what I promised, all of last year when I was campaigning, that I would be appointed for District 2. I appreciate everybody for coming out tonight. Keep it up. Thank y'all.
Thank you. Sausage tastes good. It's ugly when it's made, right? So I apologize for it's a little clunky tonight, but this is what we need to do. We need to have discussions and discourse, and we need to bring things up, and we need to understand where everybody's coming from. I personally think we missed an opportunity to provide a protection to an agricultural class that is the backbone of our communities in Lawrence County. That was a compromise that I think would not have had a negative impact on those that didn't directly need the protection. Personal opinion. I represent one district, and I'll always vote the way I think I need to vote, regardless of what other people think. It's worked for me so far. I try to be realistic and authentic in what we discuss. I think some of the things that passed tonight are going to be positive for our county, for our citizens, for our employees. We're doing good things. We have some work to do on our budget coming up. So everybody's concerns about what things cost are legit and are going to be something we have to tackle. But we need to do the right thing when we can. Make sure that we're protecting everybody. I do appreciate everybody being here. As a full house. We hopefully have to have more chairs. Everybody's opinion was awesome and valid. I hate that some of our citizens who live in the municipalities came to the wrong place, but I'm glad to hear their concerns and that we could get them to the right venue. They could have this same conversation in the correct venue. That's all I have this evening for county council comments. We do have an executive session item. We have an executive session for the receipt of legal advice subject to attorney-client privilege from the county attorney concerning an EEOC charge filed by a former employee of our finance department. Do I have a motion? We enter into executive session.
Motion to enter into executive session.
We have a motion and a second. Any discussion? All those in favor? 6-0. We will enter into executive Okay, welcome back. We had an executive session where we took information from our legal counsel. We took no action. There's no action to take here in open session. I will now entertain a motion to dismiss.
Motion to dismiss.
Second. All those in favor? Thank you.